Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our press conference about the Public Safety Building. My name is Eric Johnson. I'm the City Public Affairs Officer. Again, thank you so much for coming out here, members of the media. Before we get started, I just want to lay some ground rules here. So first off, I'm going to introduce Chief Engel, who's going to talk about the Public Safety Building project today and the proposed bond measure. And then we're going to hear from our mayor and city council members discussing the project. And then we're going to turn it back to Chief Engel, who's going to do Q&A with you folks. And then after the Q&A, for folks who have not been able to take a tour of the police station, we'll be offering tours for members of the media that want to get B-roll and photos and such. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Chief Scott Engel, who's going to talk about the project.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today as we announce a $56 million bond measure for our community for this November to build a new police station, municipal jail, and downtown police substation at our current city hall. Special thanks to our entire city council who is here today, as well as the men and women of the Puyallup Police Department and several citizens. Appreciate everybody who turned out. 55 years ago, this building opened to serve the community of Puyallup with approximately 20 staff, 21 rooms for inmates, and a population of approximately 14,000 residents. Today, 55 years later, our building houses 98 staff members, 52 inmates, and serves a population of approximately 43,000 residents. 3 times the population and nearly 5 times the staff of 55 years ago. To say that our police department has outgrown this building is a massive understatement. We have staff working in spaces that were designed for closets, storage rooms, and even a former restroom. We lack locker room space for even our entire staff. Our meeting rooms were designed for a fraction of the number of staff we have today, greatly impacting our department operations. Our operations are now spread over 4 different city facilities, bringing challenges for us around efficiency to our community and fragmenting our operations and our police services. As a department, we lack the ability to grow any further in a community that is absolutely still growing. There are no more spaces of any kind to stuff our staff, and we have literally had to stuff staff into every spot into the building to meet the needs of our growing community. Officers work in conditions where the sewer backs up in the jail, the roof leaks from its popular 1968 flat design, a rodent trap is in the floor of one of our restrooms, there is not enough secure parking for our staff, and an HVAC system that was never designed to work for the number of people currently working in this 55-year-old building. And these are just a few of the challenges that we face in our operations today. Our building is falling, failing, and crumbling around us. Our building has lived a good life, but it is tired and beyond what a regular and routine maintenance can really do, and frankly is cost prohibitive as well. Our police profession is changing, and technology is an important part of our job today and into the future. But our 55-year-old building stands in the way of PPD being fully able to embrace technology due to space constraints and, frankly, the age of the facility itself. Our jail represents our officers' ability to hold accountable those who commit crime in our community. It is integral to how we provide police services in Puyallup. But our jail is antiquated and beyond further repair or expansion. A new jail represents our commitment to accountability and safety for our community. And it would allow those who are with us in the jail who are suffering from mental health challenges and addictions the proper facility and treatments that they deserve. At a time when crime is up, we cannot and should not be without a municipal jail. 55 years ago, the city leaders had a vision for our future. Our building has served us well, but it will not serve us into the future. The time is now to invest in a new police station, municipal jail, and downtown police substation that will take our department and our service to this community into the next 50 years.
All right, thank you so much, Chief. Okay, so now we're going to hear a few words from our mayor, Mayor Dean Johnson.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight or today in this beautiful day here in the Pacific Northwest. I'd like to give a special thanks to all of our constituents and voters who are here today. We're here for you, we serve you and represent you, and thank you for your interest. I want to thank also my colleagues, all 7 of us who are here. We worked really hard on this to present a package for the voters to decide, and we're here to deliver that to the voters for the decision. I also want to thank the members of the media, and I want to thank city staff and the public and the consultants who have labored so hard to provide the council and our constituents with all the various options for us to consider. While this process has been long and arduous, as well as testing the patience and self-control of all involved, I believe that we as a council have arrived at a good proposal for all the citizens of Puyallup to consider and to make a decision on. Speaking in my own personal capacity, make no mistake that I believe that all major tax increases should be considered and approved by the majority of voters within our city and not by the city council. Hence, the final proposal that the majority of council has brought forth will ultimately be confirmed and or denied by the voters of Puyallup this November. Let me also state for the record that I fully trust the collective wisdom of our constituents to make the decision. I'd also like to thank our police chief, Scott Engel. We are very fortunate to have a police chief who not only serves this community, but lives in this community. Very many city staff doesn't live in the city where they serve. He's right down here and has a stake and skin in the game to make sure that we have a functioning city that's safe for everyone. I can tell you that being a public servant is a calling, and only a few are prepared to meet that calling, and certainly our chief is one of those. Chief and his department not only meet that calling, but they go above and beyond every day to make sure our community is safe here in Puyallup. And we are so very blessed to live in a community that prioritizes public safety and holds people accountable when they decide to do the wrong thing. As the chief alluded to in his opening remarks, this project that we as a council body believe in, we looked at the public safety building from a variety of angles and perspectives. From a high level all the way down to the nitty-gritty details, we looked at all the options on the table. And if I'm being honest, we had quite a few debates about this project, and some a little bit heated at times. But the beautiful thing about our form of government is that we can have these debates, but also remain civil. And every one of my colleagues, without question, has done that and done a fine job at that. And that's something that many other municipalities cannot state. And so we're very grateful to have a city of civility, even though we have different perspectives. As colleagues, every one of us here want the same thing for our city. Is the one thing we can all agree on, and that is community safety. This new public safety building, if funded, will ensure that Puyallup is safe and protected in the future. We as city council leaders are united together behind this idea and this proposal. Puyallup is a safe community that supports law enforcement at a high level. And that is why we have come together with a plan that makes sense. But at the end of the day, it is the voters who will get to decide on this project, and we trust their outcome to make the right decision. With that being said, I encourage all residents to learn about this project and then decide what you would like collectively to move forward. I would encourage those who want more information to go to our website, attend our city council meetings, subscribe to our newsletter, and talk to our police officers, even tour the building, asking questions, educating yourself on this important project to make an informed decision this November. And to you, the members of the media, I ask you to help us educate our residents about this project. By helping us tell our story, you're also informing the public about this project. In a moment, you're going to hear from some of my colleagues on the council about this project. When you listen to them speak, I want you to note there's a common theme that you'll be able to hear. And one of those themes is passion and unity behind this. Puyallup is passionate about our police and law enforcement professionals. It is through that passion that we believe is a smart and prudent plan that will ensure our police department has the tools they need to serve our community and protect our community. Thank you. May God bless our city and God bless our law enforcement. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mayor. And now I'm going to introduce Deputy Mayor Ned Whitting.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to start off by echoing Mayor Johnson's words. He covered a lot of the ground for us today. This is a project that we've worked long and hard on. A lot has happened from a financial standpoint since we started this project and put it before voters in February of 2022. We've seen inflation, interest rates, and cost of construction skyrocket, all of which have increased the cost of this project significantly. We know that voters are concerned about the project costs, so we've struggled mightily to find ways to bring that cost down. In fact, we formed an ad hoc committee consisting of myself and my fellow council members, Dorr and King, and we took a deep dive into the details of this project and were able to identify 27 different places where we could reduce the capital costs. These measures reduced the size of the police station and decreased the number of jail beds from 84 to 58, saving over $9 million. We presented our findings to the council at large and received unanimous support for the reductions. I think I can speak for everyone here on the council that we've come up with a plan that does make sense. I believe that it will provide very utilitarian, no-frills building that will serve this community for many years to come. As Mayor Johnson said, this is now up to Puyallup residents to decide if they want to support this. And it's also up to us as a council to make sure that we educate residents, and that's exactly what we plan on doing. So for those of you at home watching this, I encourage you to seek out information for yourselves. Come down and tour this tired old building that has served us so well for so long. Please don't depend on social media for your information. Call, email, or text me or one of my council colleagues. We're more than happy to talk about you and provide you the facts. Getting accurate information about this project will allow you to make the right decision for Puyallup and its future. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Now we're going to hear from Councilmember John Palmer.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here today. The vast majority of our citizens recognize the need for a new public safety building. We know this through a survey we did a couple years ago. However, the price tag of the building is a significant concern and likely the main reason our previous bond measures did not pass. So what are we doing this time around to address those costs? First, as Deputy Mayor highlighted, we cut the cost of the building. Second, and what I want to highlight today, is we dramatically reduced the amount of the voter bond from $82 million down to $56 million. That's a 32% reduction. That means we are asking our citizens to pay a lot less new property taxes. For example, for a $500,000 home, it will cost a family about $180 per year instead of $265 per year, which was the amount in the previous bond. That's a big reduction. We were able to lower the voter bond amount by using current revenue to pay for part of the building. We think our voters will appreciate these important changes related to cost. I want to close by thanking my fellow council members and staff for working very hard to find ways to make this very important community investment more affordable. And now it's time to educate our citizens of these important changes in the upcoming bond. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Palmer. And now we're going to hear from Councilmember Julie Dorr.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. Excuse me. I first ran for office on a public safety platform, and I've dedicated the past 10 years to doing that work. Public safety is defined as the welfare and protection of the general public, but I'd like us to take that a step further. To me, public safety is about more than safe streets, neighborhoods, and businesses. It includes caring for those that provide that safety and ensuring that they have the necessary tools in their toolbox to keep us and themselves safe. As a constituent prior to running, I attended multiple city council meetings and listened to councils of the past discuss the need for this building. Fast forward 10 years, and I stand here before you today to tell you not only has this need grown more pressing, it's imminent. Through various iterations of council, each one of them has identified the need for this. It is no longer a priority, it's an essential, it's a necessity. Councils have looked at all the different options, listened to constituent feedback, and we've debated for years over this project. Excuse me. And if you watch any of our meetings, we don't always agree on every issue, but you have 7 of us standing here united before you today for this project. This is something we've all come together and we all support. And as the chief pointed out, our officers are working in a building that's overcrowded and failing. It's falling apart. This building behind you did not contemplate the technology and the needs of policing in this new millennium. Members of the media and the public watching, please know that we as a council stand 100% behind our law enforcement officers. They go to work every day doing the job that many of us simply cannot do. This world today puts pressures on them that are significant and ever-changing. They need a new building that will provide them with the tools to perform this job. And as my colleagues have stated before me, and I'm sure will after, please educate yourself on this building and on this project. There are a lot of rumors and misinformation going around, and I encourage you to reach out to our staff, our police department, the council, the website, to find the information out for yourself. I'm confident you will find out the reason that this project is necessary and that we'll make the right decision when you vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Doran. Now we're going to hear from Councilmember Robin Ferris.
Hello, everybody. I want to thank you all for coming here today. As all my fellow colleagues on the council have already stated, this is a very important project that we've been working on and debated endlessly. And one of the things we debated on was a new building location. We looked at several locations, including City Hall, right here at the current location, and for many reasons, including cost, these were not feasible. All roads led to the location up on the hill next to Central Pierce Fire Station 72. The building would be out of the LAHAR zone. We own the property, and it will enhance response time by being next door to Central Pierce Fire and Rescue. Now, when we first proposed the location back in 2021, we got a lot of feedback from the community about moving up on the hill. Councilmember Castma and I represent downtown, and we understand our constituent concerns about the police department moving out of the valley. But the good news is our police department is not moving out of downtown. Part of the project will include a police substation at City Hall. Residents in downtown can go there to file police reports or talk to an officer. But more importantly, one of the big misconceptions is that police officers respond to incidents from a building. This is not accurate. They answer to incidents from their patrol vehicles. We have 4 patrol districts in the city with at least 1 or 2 officers patrolling 24/7. When it comes to incidents response, it doesn't matter where the physical building is located, the officers will still respond to incidents from their vehicles. And I think we can all agree that our police department is probably some of the best response times in the state of Washington. To summarize, as a downtown resident, I believe in this project wholeheartedly. And I think moving the building to the Hill and opening a substation at City Hall is a smart move. But it doesn't matter what I think. It's my constituents, it's the voters of Puyallup. What they think matters, and that's why it's so important we educate them and dispel the rumors and misinformation. It's events like this one where we have an opportunity to set the record straight. I appreciate all of you coming here today to listen. Our chief is going to come up soon to answer some of the questions for you all. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Ferris. And now we're going to hear from Councilmember Jim Castema.
Thank you, fellow members of the council. Thank you, Robin, for those words. It's been a pleasure to work with you representing our district in the downtown area. And it's a great pleasure to be here today with everyone on the council, the other 6 members who sit on that council. We probably went through maybe 30 different work sessions, hearings on this, and it came out, as Councilmember Dorr said, 7-0. We're all behind this proposal. And probably more importantly is the philosophy of the council. And the philosophy is that every street in Puyallup, every street is safe. That everyone deserves to be able to walk on the sidewalk, walk through our streets, and be safe in Puyallup. Kids can walk to school, families can go to our 18 different parks that we have here in Puyallup, and that people are safe. And that's the philosophy we've developed. No neighborhood will be unsafe. And so we're behind this proposal. Part of that has been that we have our own jail. Now, many of you may not know my background, but I actually spent a number of years in the state Senate. And I remember all the different discussions about people not having jails in their communities and just contracting out. And I could tell you that is at a tremendous cost to a community. First of all, literally at a cost, because you no longer control the cost structure when you have to contract out with other entities. Second of all, you can send a person there. It doesn't mean they have to take it or have the capacity to take it. And finally, third, is that it takes time, extra time on the officer's part to engage in transportation, etc., when that officer should be on the street protecting the people of Puyallup. So that's why 7-0, we're all behind this. Now, I've got to tell you that we survey our constituents in Puyallup. We try to be as objective as we possibly can. We pay an outside firm to do it. And the latest results came back that 85% of the people in Puyallup support their police. That is tremendous. So we're doing this to make sure that our police have the adequate structure, the resources they need to really protect the people of Puyallup, but we're also doing it because we support them, because they support us. So thank you very much for being here today. We all look forward to getting this going. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Castema. And now we're going to hear from Councilmember Dennis King.
Thank you, Councilmember Castema, Mayor, council members. Thank you to everybody that showed up today. Well, I think one of the advantages of being the last one to speak is you get to reiterate about what has already been said. But one of the things that has not been covered very much is how we plan to pay for the new building. We've talked a lot about the voter bond of $56 million. But the other side of that funding coin is the $20 million in Councilmatic bonds. To put it in layman's terms, the Councilmatic bonds are debt that we issue to ourselves as a city government, and the debt is paid using existing city funds over a series of years. So it does not impact our property tax rates. We are doing this for 2 main reasons. One is to get the project costs down, which brings the voter bond amount down as well. And 2, I think it's important that we show that we have skin in the game. The project is so incredibly important to all of us here, the council members, and the community, that we are willing to put and issue debt upon ourselves as city government to make it happen. But we have to do it wisely and effectively. Our City Hall building, which was funded using councilmanic bonds, is going to be paid off very soon. And we are then going to roll over that debt into this project, debt payment, I should say, into this project. But let me be clear, there is and will be no additional payment from the taxpayers aside from the voter-approved bond, and the impact on our existing city budget will not change. It is a smart way of doing business, and it is an even smarter way of managing taxpayer funds. Like my colleagues, I stand behind this project every step of the way. I always have been, and I always will be. And I think it's important that all of you here today, along with the members of the media, help us educate our community about this project so that they can make an informed and positive decision for our city's public safety this November. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember King and City Council. And now we're going to turn it back to Chief Scott Engel, who is going to answer questions from you all at the media. Thank you.
Lionel?
Hi, with King 5. This one's a bit of a two-parter. First one, so with this new jail, is it going to be bigger? Is it going to be able to house more people?
So it will have 6 more beds than we currently have. Those 6 beds that we're adding in the proposal will be to care for people who are suffering from mental health challenges and substance abuse issues. Our current facility lacks any of that type of infrastructure, so as we go forward, we know that that's a big challenge in our community and many other challenges, and this proposal allows us to provide adequate care for those folks who are in custody who are battling either mental health or substance abuse. Standard jail cells is the exact same number today as it will be when we open the building in 3 years.
Okay, and I guess the second thing I would want to ask is, for the people that are being housed in this jail, what are they being housed for? Help me with this.
They're misdemeanor offenders who've committed DUI, DV, malicious mischief, any type of misdemeanor crime that's committed here in Puyallup.
Well, I guess I'll
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, why? Well, in that case, the next thing I would want to ask is, are Puyallup police, are they arresting people at a rate that would justify the current numbers and a bigger jail to be built?
So it's not a bigger jail. It's only a bigger jail in the fact that we're providing services to those suffering from mental illness and those suffering from addiction disorders. It's the same size jail. And we are arresting people for misdemeanor crimes in our community, and we do need that jail capacity. Our officers recognize when they handle a call for service or a crime in progress, there's many ways to solve that. But here in Puyallup, accountability is very important to our community. We're not shy about that. The jail is absolutely one of those tools that our officers need to today and will need in the future to ensure accountability and safety in our community.
So I noticed no one mentioned anything about the court. I was just wondering what's going to happen to that building.
Did you just make sure I heard you right? The court?
Yeah.
So the court is not a part of this proposal. As you know, the 2 prior proposals, the court was a part of that. And frankly, we didn't get 60%. We got a great majority of people, but we didn't quite cross that 60%. So our policymakers looked at that and said, we've got to get costs down. We've got to bring the cost of the size of the project down and the overall scope of the project down. And that meant the court is going to stay where they are at least for a few more years. And then future city councils will tackle that issue. There's lots of options on the table down the road to incorporate the court into this facility. If this bond measure does pass at $56 million with the community, the building will be built to accommodate court down the road, so we're not spending twice when we add them later on.
You guys have like a general timeline of when that'll happen, or not yet?
Again, I think the goal is to, number 1, go before the voters and see what they think. Number 2, hopefully that's a yes and actually get in the building. And then number 3, I would assume that would be the next issue that council would take up.
This building here, Chief, what problems do you see on a daily basis in this particular building here?
Do you have an hour? So first and foremost, space. We literally have put people in places that were never designed to have a working staff member in those spots. So as you walk through the building, you'll see that officers' work areas, detectives' work areas, staff member work areas are extremely small. And some of those places, frankly, again, they were a storage closet that we converted to an office, a storage room that we've basically put the stuff in the hallway. The jail in particular has tremendous issues around plumbing and some of the basic functions of life over there that the building is tired. It rains a lot in the Northwest and our roof leaks a lot. And that's a constant for us dealing with a flat roof design that most people don't do anymore. As our community grows, the issue that I see today is we're not prepared for that growth as a department because our facility is not prepared for that growth. We can't add any more people to any more nooks and crannies in this building. And part of our responsibility for the community today and the community in the future is to make sure that we're prepared for growth. And Puyallup is still growing, but this building will not grow any further. And leak.
What does it actually cost to run a jail? Like, can you put that in numbers?
Yeah. So our operational budget right now for the jail is about $2.3 million. That's for our staff, that's for medical care, that's for all of the functions that we have inside the jail. That gives you a rough guess of where we're at. Lionel?
Yes, I think someone touched on it earlier, just going back to the jail part. We reached out to the Pierce County Sheriff's saying that while their jail vaccination staff capacity is the jail's not performing, so why not just use Pierce County?
Because they don't have the staff to operate the current jail that they have. And the county's on record with that. There's no reason to beat around the bush on this. Our officers face booking restrictions at the Pierce County Jail on a daily basis for felony offenders. We absolutely disagree that they are going to be able to take misdemeanor offenders from Puyallup on the amount and consistency that we need to ensure safety and security in our community.
Do you guys think the new jail bed count will account for the future population growth that we're talking about?
Yes, I think that we have come together with a good plan that deals with our population in our city now, and frankly, provides us opportunities down the road that if we find ourselves out of space and it's too expensive to go anywhere else, because that's also a factor in the equation, then we have a plan for future generations to be able to deal with that issue. Go ahead.
Can you talk, I know you and I touched on this one-on-one, but can you talk a little bit about other cities that use the jail and how that factors?
Sure. So you're getting at how many people basically are in the jail that are offenders over the last 5 years. Our staff looked at that. How many people in this facility were actually Puyallup offenders? Nearly 93% of the usage in our jail was for Puyallup offenders who have committed crime in the city of Puyallup. That other 7 or 8% are for those other municipalities that contract with us who may call us and say, hey, do you have a bed to put this person for the night? And we may or may not have a bed. But consistently, over those last 5 years, nearly 93% of our offenders were Puyallup offenders. Any other questions? Go ahead.
What's going to happen to the school building if its voters do?
You know, that's an issue for future city councils to determine. And I think there's probably lots of options that everyone could think of what happens here.
I think this will improve morale of your officers and staff in the new building that's not leaking over.
I absolutely do. I think it's great for retention for our officers. I think it's great for recruitment. Officers walk in here and work in a substandard facility for modern day policing. Every single one of them sees that every day. We see it every day because we work in there. And to know that they're going to be able to work in a modern facility that accommodates policing for today and in the future is extremely important for them. They respond to calls in the field. They serve our community. They answer 911 calls. But there are times that they have to come back here to do their work. And right now, we're providing a substandard work environment for them.
You spoke before about room-based and weather conditions on the inside as well. What about the infrastructure for the 21st century? You ladies hinted on this. The 21st century and beyond infrastructure of the building.
Yeah, good question. So in policing, Electronics, computer, technology is everything today and in the future. From drones to virtual training to computer forensics, our building lacks all of those. We have a cart that we can deal with drones and what drones do in our community, but we don't actually have a room or a place that we can actually deal with that type of technology. And I know you all from the media have seen it everywhere. Law enforcement is using this to reduce police contacts and catch offenders left and right. Computer forensics, the examination of cell phones, laptops, home computers is huge. And we literally have one spot about this big to be able to handle that. Virtual training for officers. Training for police in the 21st century, massively important for them to be able to do scenarios, work through different decision-making points, conduct that in an environment where they can actually do it. We lack that in this building. Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit about what was cut to make the cost cheaper?
Yeah, the overall size of the building has shrunk. And that's the easiest way I can say that, is the overall size of the building shrunk. Offices are smaller, storage is smaller, things got smaller. Secondarily is the jail, moving from what was proposed to be approximately 85-ish beds down to the current proposed 58s. That reduces, as Deputy Mayor Whitting stated, $9 million right off the bat. So all of those things were through cost reduction. Our attempt to hear what the voters said and respond to that in this next proposal before them in November.
Last one I have is, talk a little bit about how increasing construction costs are affecting the project, and would it be more expensive if it didn't pass this time?
It will definitely be more expensive if it doesn't pass this time, and we know that because we had a delay from our last two proposals to the community till now. So again, kudos to city staff, our outside resources, and people who've been involved in this project, because we've fought two things, right? Reducing cost in a time when inflation is sky high. We all feel it, we see it, we understand that. And so the challenge before us was to bring that cost down and make it affordable for Puyallup City taxpayers to consider in November. If it does not pass, the numbers speak for themselves. Inflation is expected to continue to rise, and each delay that we have in opening the jail, or opening the building, adds cost.
So what's going to happen if it doesn't pass?
I'm sorry?
What's going to happen if it doesn't pass?
We're back to the drawing board.
That's it.
Okay. Lionel?
Can you hear me? Yeah, so we were talking a bit about these projects. Staff at the ex-council also talked about how other municipalities have actually reached out to you to use the jail. What I understand, Lakeland might be the only other city in the county that has a jail. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
They do not.
Yeah. Oh, okay. In that case, would you recommend other cities and municipalities to also invest in their own jails?
I think that law enforcement in our communities face an interesting challenge going forward. Holding offenders accountable, providing treatment for offenders who are willing and acceptable to that, being out of the jail business is going to get very complicated very fast. There's only so much space. There's only so many bodies to work in corrections. All of those are very challenging right now. We in Puyallup, by having our own jail, control all of those. We can control our checkbook, we control our staffing, we control the programs that we have. And that is very important when you're managing taxpayer dollars. I live in this community, as was noted, and need to make a recommendation to this council that is something that will live on for future generations, and that it's the right thing to do both now and in the future. And I stand strongly behind that. This is the right thing for Puyallup, for quality of life, for our department operations, logistical challenges, and all the other factors that the men and women in blue who answer calls face on a daily basis of trying to solve crime problems. We don't take everybody to jail. We do take some people to jail, and that option has to be on the table, in my opinion, today and down the road.
Can you give us an insight on what the treatment spaces will look like for mental health issues and substance abuse?
Yep, so right now, when you have someone who's experiencing any of those challenges, we take up what are considered to be our change-out cells. These would be cells that those people could be in, be held in, can live in for however long that they're living with us, and that we can provide adequate supervision and treatment to them in those cells.
Is there anything else you want to cover that you haven't talked about?
I think you have absolutely covered it all. I'll turn it back over to Eric, but on behalf of all the men and women of the Puyallup Police Department, thank you for being here today.
Okay, thank you, Chief Engel. So that concludes our press conference. So for folks that may have additional follow-up questions, please reach out to either myself, Chief Engel, or Captain Ryan Portman, who's the police PIO. We can certainly help you with that. Now we are going to allow some members of the media to come and take a tour of the police station. If they would like to do that, please come up to either myself or Chief Engel, and we can make arrangements for that. Thank you so much for coming. Have a great afternoon.